Hi, I'm Sue Ricks from SueRicks.com. I wanted to talk a little bit about how to help family members, friends and our clients when anybody around them has got really upset and people don't really understand what's going on. I had a situation very recently where my client was just completely baffled why somebody was upset around them. And I thought it might be a good idea just to chat a little bit about why that happens. When we know that somebody's really upset, we can try and work out in our heads what it is that's going on. And yet all we can really do is try and work out what's going on from our perspective. The definition of upset is really helpful because the definition gives us something to anchor to and to actually explore and find out what was it that went on. So the definition of upset is an unmet expectation or a missed communication. And when you look at both of those two things, you can often find out what happened and what went wrong. So in other words, how did that person perceive it? How did you perceive it? And what was going on? So there's be something to do with either an expectation or a communication. And very often it's both. So it could be that I say this, you hear that, and the expectation between us is different. And maybe that person then thinks that you've said something that you didn't mean because what one person says is not what another person hears. It could also be that there's something that could have been communicated that wasn't. So maybe the other person would have been able to check something out and they didn't ask. Maybe you gave some information to somebody. And one of the great things is if you check with somebody what that means to them, you can then find out whether that expectation was there or not. Did they actually understand what was communicated and did they get it? So when we just take it back to the bare bones of a missed communication, so that could be, a phone call, it could be a text message, it could be that it's actually about timing, so actually an agreement about timings. Maybe somebody said, we'll do it, but they didn't say when. They didn't communicate that it is going to happen and when it's going to happen. Or maybe it was a communication about what's going to happen. So maybe the bare bones were played out and maybe the information was given, but maybe the actual detail wasn't there of it because somebody thought this meant that. We've all had experiences of it, haven't we? Where we go, yeah, I've got it. And actually we work it out according to how we would do it and how we would process it and handle that situation. But how somebody else handles it is completely different. So it's actually going step by step. Was there a communication? What was the communication? And was all parts of it communicated? Because very often there's an assumption that's slipped in there and we didn't spot it, and then people can get upset. There's also about actually an expectation. So the expectation could be that somebody got something running in their head that this is what it was going to be, this is what it was going to be like, and that picture is so big and so strong, and the information that they hold in their heads, they've got a plan all laid out in their head, they've heard all these details, and therefore they know that they know what's happening and how things are going to be and how the relationship's going to be dealt with or how the job's going to be done or whatever it is. But actually those voices and those pictures and those sounds are so strong that they didn't actually listen to the communication, and their expectation is that this will happen in the way that I expect it without actually checking it out. So even though we've broken it down into communication and expectations, it could be one, we didn't actually make that phone call, we didn't send the text, we didn't agree a time, we didn't actually say who was it you recommended or what was that book that you wanted or when are we going so and so. Or it could be that somebody is expecting it to be different. I saw a cracker recently where somebody said tidy up. It was just a simple thing of tidy up. And I watched the person involved tidy up. What actually was they didn't tidy up the bit that the person was wanting tidied up. So it's actually tidy up. Tidy up what? So putting in time frames, putting in the who, what, when, where's and how's checks out that we've actually gone through that information. So the definition of upset is an unmet expectation or a missed communication, and very often it's both, and if you've got both, the upset's even bigger. So just checking it out, just referencing yourself, just thinking, now, did I communicate it? Just going into your head and going, did I communicate it? What was my expectation? I wonder what your expectation was. And that's when we can actually handle things and actually help to alleviate upset. So I hope that helps to a much more happier, healthy and enjoyable life. I'm Sue Rix, SueRix.com with love. Bye.